Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning at business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Hey guys, my name is Leia Rivera, new team player here at Rockefeller's Barbershop. I'm a barber hairstylist. I do braids, blowouts, and balayages, fades, tapers, and military cuts. You can reach me on my cell, 210-570-6126, or on social media at Leia_Princess Barber22. You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartRadio.
You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast with your host, Shamaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune into today's podcast.
This is I Am Refocused podcast, and today we have an awesome show. Guess what time it is? It is Thursday, so that means we are here at Rockefeller's Barbershop. Shout out to the number one dude on this block, Rico Rodriguez, man. If you need a haircut, you need to come here. This is the place to be. And also, man, we want to give some shout outs to Miss Kim, River City Donuts, Baby McClinton, All Sports Speed and Conditioning. He's the one that does NFL and NBA training. Just check out his portfolio at allsportsfitness.net. Also, big shout out to D.W. Brooks Funeral Home and overflowcafe.com for the best website traffic for all your business owners out there. They are 41,000 clients strong, and it's still going since the 1990s. Today, we have an awesome show. She was Miss Black San Antonio in 2017, and she is Miss Black Texas in 2018. Miss Chaunice Holley. She is military, Air Force, 7 years strong. How are you doing today?
I am well. I am so well. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Just looking forward to every day. What's new? Something's going to happen new every day, and I'm looking forward to accepting and receiving it.
Tell us a little bit about your life, man. How was life growing up, your childhood?
Oh, we're getting right to it.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into
it. So I grew up, I was born in Newark, New Jersey on the East Coast. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? And then we moved over to Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania out there. And how y'all doing out there, too? But it was just me and my mom. When we moved to Allentown, I believe I was about 9, and we were moving from a domestic violence type of situation in the middle of the night, you know. Mm-hmm. And so we got there, and that was the start of my journey of resilience, in my opinion. I believe it could have started a little sooner than that, but for my mother, she was trying to get us into a better situation. So Allentown was that spot. And we started over. We ended up going into shelters such as like Turning Point organization, which is a shelter for battered women and men. Mm-hmm. We add men to that, okay, because it's not just a woman situation or an issue. And we that started my issue of homelessness. For me, I, for the most part, have been homeless off and on until I graduated high school. And you just learn how to cope. You know, my favorite thing growing up happened to be school. You're not allowed to call me a nerd, okay? But it was school for me, and for many children. You'll recognize the fact that school, if you have issues at home, is the only 8 hours of normalcy that they have throughout their day. And so, you know, you're going to get breakfast if you get there early enough. You'll get lunch if, regardless, they give you lunch. Whether they say you don't have money in your account or not, somebody's going to feed you, or a friend. Mm-hmm. And then you get to learn. And they always tell you that knowledge is that power. And in school is where I met my biggest advocates. My mentor, his name was Russell Valentini. His nickname is Rooster. I thought that was crazy when I first met him, but he's been a champion since I got touched down in Allentown. He's a homeless youth advocate for the school district, the Allentown School District, and I really, really, really channeled the fact that you see these different PBS was big back in my day, right? So you see these big specials and the talent information and things on the television, and they say, knowledge is the key. If you go to school, you can be anything you want to be. And I really hung on to that, because for me, if that meant that if I go to school and I do well, the only place that I feel normal, how hard is that? Let me do that. You know what I mean? And so I sit here today as Miss Black Texas, and I say, I'm not perfect, okay? And that's what I really want to bring to the forefront in regards to myself, as well as pageantry past a certain age, okay? I feel like for me, my job as a beauty queen, so to speak, is to show young girls in the same situations that I'm going through right now that there are twists and turns in the road.
Yeah.
You struggle, but that is what will bring you out. That is what will help you to become stronger, to become more resilient, to be able to say, hey, I did it, and so can you. And this is how, and this is the roadmap. And don't worry if you take a hard left on that road, we can get you back on track. And so for me, that's my main outtake on the stuff that I dealt with, or struggles, my home life, single parent home, my mom, my dad was around, but not in my home. But my grandparents made big strides. Like they took on a lot. My grandmother, her name is Lorraine Franklin. She's passed. And my grandmother, Carolyn Carrington, she's also passed. And those two women, you can't ask for stronger role models, as well as my mother. She dealt with being alone. She dealt with childhood traumas herself. She dealt with and still deals with, anybody who deals with addiction still deals with addiction, whether you're recovering or not. For myself, I look at her and people say, well, she didn't do this, or she did do this. And I say, well, you learn something from negative and positive situations. And I feel like a lot of the things that I have dealt with in life, she has helped me with and made me stronger. Because of the fact that I had to go through those things. Some people don't ever go through a struggle. And then when you get to that roadblock, it's hard to get over it. And so for myself, I find that, there's another roadblock. Okay, let me see what I need to do. Do I need a hammer? What do I need? Do I need a boat? What's going on? Do I have to row around it? And so I'm really, really, really here in this capacity to say, you can get through it. I've done it, and I'm going to help you. And if I can't help you, I'll find different folks that can. And that's for the most part, that's me growing up. I moved here. I joined the military after, let me see, I moved all over the place. I lived in Minnesota for a little bit with my cousins out there. And then I came back to Pennsylvania, and I was still renting. With my mom, we got evicted a bunch of times, if you can imagine. And I was working. I was able to pay the bills based on my pay. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, well, what can I do to not have to deal with this anymore? Like, what's next? And it was right after 9/11. And I said, you know what? Let's see about this military thing. So I did my homework. I went to my recruiter's office. His name was Kevin Battles. I'll never forget him. And I walked in, and I think I might have been the easiest recruitment he ever seen in his entire life. Because I walked in and I said, do I have to pay rent? That was I promise you, that was my first question. Do I have to pay rent? And then my second question was, do I go to school for free? Quote unquote, for free, right? Because military is service. It's not free.
Yeah.
But when I signed up to be in the United States Air Force, it was one of the best days of my life. I ended up right here, of course, Military City, USA, and Lackland Air Force Base. And grew up. You know what I mean? I grew up Air Force. I've not had a stateside base. I went to Japan, then to Korea, then to Alaska, and I went to Hawaii. I was in another place in Japan called Kadena Air Force Base. And then I came back here. I got sick. So I came back here to Lackland and so that they can treat me at the fabulous Wilford Hall. It's new and improved now, right? And I had two options, though. They said you could go to Wilford Hall or you could go to Walter Reed in Washington, D.C. I said, wait, and I just told you, I was at Japan, at Misawa Air Force Base, Japan, Kunsan, Korea, Alaska, okay, Elmendorf Air Force Base. And I said, wait, so you're giving me the choice of Washington, D.C. or Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas? I choose no snow for 20. Thank you. No snow. Yeah. And so I came out here and just started my life. And I was a wounded warrior. I am a wounded warrior. And started my life here as a registered nurse. And I've been doing that ever since. And pageantry just happened to come along. I have after I got out of the military, my husband and I, we ended up having a daughter. She's 4 now, Madison Brielle. Hey, baby girl. She is very shy. She was shy. And I'm not that person, can you tell? Not at all. I'm not shy. And so I said, okay, well, what can we do to get her out of this shell? And so there's a beauty pageant here, a system. It's a national system now. It's Bella Rose Pageantry, and it's a natural pageant where they don't wear the makeup and the flippers and all that other kind of stuff. Nothing against those glitz pageants; they're fabulous too. But I found this pageant system, Belinda DeLeon and her husband Jose, and they had been fabulous. They allowed me to bring my daughter in. She got to do a couple of pageants, and lo and behold, after a couple of months, she won her first pageant. Wow. And then when she won, she said, Mama, you need to do this too with me. She said, you need to be a princess too. And I said, oh my goodness. So how do you say no to that, right? And so I did one with her, and then we won together. We won 2 of the top titles in the pageant together. Supremes. And so I said, you know what, I got this. I got this. I said, we're gonna do this. And then Miss Black USA pageant, which is my younger. So I have a baby sister queen. Okay. She lives out in Dallas. Her name is Jojo Imale. Follow her. So what I did is I watched Miss Black USA last year in August. And I said, man, look at that representation. I said, I need to be a part of this. I said, what is going on? So, of course, I started to do my research. I'm page turning, finding out, internet, trying to see what is this pageant all about. And I said, we're going to find out who do I need to contact to be a part of this organization. And it's a scholarship pageant, and who doesn't need a scholarship?
Exactly.
Okay. Right. My love for school has not changed since the day that I'm telling you that, I use school to help me get from one place to another in life. So I said, let's do it. And so that's where we are now. I love San Antonio. If you haven't been here, you need to be here. It's one of the most diversities around. I mean, it's so beautifully diverse. There's so much history here, and it's economically, it's super cost effective. And so I love it. There's so many different people here to meet. I'm happy to be raising my family here in San Antonio, Texas. And so I found out who I needed to find here in San Antonio in regards to pageantry. And I competed against a couple people, and then became Miss Black San Antonio 2017, which was the stepping stone to my title now that I received in February, Miss Black Texas USA 2018. And so, we move and we shake. I'm one of those people, if you tell me something, if you want something to happen, don't tell me. I'm like, don't tell me unless you're ready to move. Unless you're ready to move. Like, don't make it a lackadaisical statement, because if I can make it happen, I'm going to try my best to do so. And so for me, now here as a career woman. I work at Brightwood College, Ingram campus, right over near the Ingram Park Mall.
Okay.
And I'm a nursing instructor. So I teach licensed vocational nurses how to become prudent nurses. We have a shortage. We need nurses in our states, not just here in Texas, but everywhere.
Right.
And so it's one of those careers you can take with you wherever, whenever you need to do it. You can kind of make your own schedule. And also one of the only careers that you can try this and then swerve left into a different category. Like I'm basically a woman's nurse. Okay, so I've worked OBGYN, labor, antepartum, anything you can think of that has to do with the woman. But my mother had some heart issues, some cardiac issues. So I said, okay, well, let's swerve left. Right. And so I said, well, let me go work with this cardiologist, one of the best ones that I know, John Seaworth. And she showed me the ropes. And now I can have that communication. Now, we learn everything in nursing school. But the fact of the matter is that once you get out, you can decide what you want to do as far as specialty, right? Or you can be a generalist. But for me, that helped. You know, my mom was having heart attacks. Okay, well, I need to know more about the heart. I need to know about those medications more in depth. Because once you get into your lane, you kind of get comfortable in that lane, just like with anything else in life. But it's nice in nursing to know that you can go and you can see different things. But at heart, inside my love, my soul is a woman's nurse. Eventually, my scholarship, when we win and bring it back to Texas, the Miss Black USA, will be to become a provider, a nurse practitioner.
Wow!
And so that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. And I'm not giving away my idea. Okay, don't try and do it. I'm gonna find you if you try and do it. No, just
she military. She fine.
But I want to open an after 5. I want to open an after 5 OBGYN. It opens at that time. So you don't have to take off work to go get your women needs taken care of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what my goal in life is going to be initially. I know there are probably a couple out there that have after 5 hours, but I don't even want to see 9 to 5. I want to see 5 to 11. You know what I mean? Or 5 to whatever time.
You heard it first here.
Yeah.
I am Refocused podcast.
Find me. Google me.
I mean, man, you have so much information. I mean, you're a go-getter. I mean,
try.
at the least, man. I mean, you almost had to interview me on the show because. All right, so just backtracking just a little bit.
Let's do it.
You know, you was talking about going to school and going through that process and going through high school and then speeding up and getting to the military, and then from there your daughter runs for Miss Beauty, and then she wins, and then she tags you along. It's in the blood, you know. The movement is very strong, you know, in your family. Who gave you that inspiration? Was it your mom that gave you that inspiration to have that drive?
I think so. So when you have, when people have so little, right? So and it's typically within the community. Typically, you don't live in a community where everybody has a lot and one person has a little, unless they worked and grind to get there. You know what I mean? And they're maintaining. However, it's a community. I'm telling you, I have more secondary mothers than somebody can imagine. You know, so it was my mother, Sonia. It was my godmother, Monique. It was, you know, the people before I even know that they were people in the background. You know, my Aunt Twala is on here. She's talking to me while we're going through this. My cousins, my cousin Deshaun is on here. Everybody who is in the background that lifts you up. You know, sometimes you don't recognize that those people are catapulting you to an elevation that you had no idea that you would be at. I'm sitting here as Miss Black Texas. I still walk down the street just like everybody else, praying that, you know, one day somebody doesn't say, oh, I need to take your picture. You know what I mean? But that's what I do. I love to see a little girl. Like if I'm walking with this crown and sash on, I can't not stop.
Yeah.
How do you not stop? You know what I mean? Because that one moment in time could be a defining moment for that young lady, for the elderly lady that never saw a black beauty queen or whoever, you know what I mean? So it's humbling, and it's also exciting to know that the people within my life had such a profound effect on me. And sometimes in the moment, you don't even recognize it. Yeah. My cousin Rooster, when I say Rooster's name, I mean Rooster still calls me. Rooster still checks up on me. And I'm a grown woman. Mm-hmm. And he's still in the Allentown School District championing enunciation, right? Championing for children who are homeless. And how do you pay that back? Right? And he doesn't ask for anything. But how do you say thank you enough times? Because where I'm from, there are children like me all over the place. I visit, and we'll talk more, I believe, about here in San Antonio and the things that I do. But when I go through the neighborhood, when I go through where I come from, when I started there, it was like a little suburbia in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And now it's a thriving city. We got an event center. We have all kinds of stuff. But when I look at those different things, I say, man, growth it's imminent. Like, it's going to happen one way or another. And you want it to be positive growth. Yeah. And so, I'm just excited that these people who I have been able to be touched by are now seeing me with the ability to touch others. And you don't have to have a position to do that. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a title to say, hey, if you need something, you give me a call. Mm-hmm. If you feel like you're discouraged, give me a call. If you need to anything, call me. And that's who I am. It's ingrained inside of me because somebody did it for me.
And take us, earlier in your life where you had those struggles and you was going through those dark times, you would call it that. Mm-hmm. What was I'm sure the light bulb was always on because you're a very positive person. So the way I want to ask this question is, when you was going through those tough times, how did you do it without losing your balance? Because you're a very positive presence. It's like, man, were you ever depressed? Because you're very
absolutely. Focused. I think it's inevitable for someone to feel down when you're dealing with such things. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is like I said when I started, I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. I have friends. When you think about my community, I probably am not in anomaly. It's the norm in my community. Addiction, abuse, homelessness, hunger. It's normal. Yeah. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be it should not be a normal situation, but it is. So those are the crowds that I hung with. Okay? Mm-hmm. I just recognize that if I keep going to school and finish, I might be able to do something else. Yeah. Okay? So if I get good grades when everybody else is hanging out, if I'm studying, I can start my AP class that's a credit for college already, so I'm already ahead of the game. You know what I mean? And so that's I think that's where I go. Was I depressed? Yes, absolutely. Why do I have to work and take care of a family when I'm not even old enough to have a family? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's absolutely something that is saddening when you think back on it. Even today, nothing changes. It's not something that will go away because it's a part of who you are. It's ingrained. But I recognize that it could have been worse. It could have been worse. I deal with youth today that have had it worse. You know what I mean? When I was going through those dark times, I had people in my life, negative and positive. But the negative people, they try and manipulate. They use the situation, they twist it to how it makes them feel good, and they use it against you. And when I was younger, I did pageants, 1 or 2, in a specific pageant system, prominent, and I was the new girl. I was the poor girl compared to everybody else. Okay, pageantry is an industry. If you don't know, you need to look it up. But pageantry is an industry, and I remember I won one pageant, local. Okay, the stepping stone to the national. I got to the national. I didn't win that pageant. Okay, my mom went with me. We had a great time. We scratched all of our dimes together. The final was in Florida. Okay, we had a good old time. They were looking at us like we were crazy. Okay, and then I did another pageant which was larger, and I won the local, got to the national, and they lipsticked my dress. If you don't know what that means, they took a lipstick and they drew all over the dress.
Man, that's crazy.
And they thought that I wasn't going to get on stage in the dress. Because they had met me and they didn't know how much I paid for that dress and how many hours I had to work for it. So I got my butt up and walked on that stage and still made runner-up, which is for me, I'm good with that. Yeah. The judges were probably like, what's wrong with this girl? Why is she on stage with this dress that looks a hot mess? Right? But for me, it's just a little bit more of adversity. You know? A little bit more adversity. And you sprinkle some adversity in the mix, you get a stronger person. To me, it's like a recipe. Even if you feel weak in the moment, later on, there will be a light bulb that comes on and says, aha, this is what I need to be doing, and this is why.
Wow.
And at what moment did you find your purpose that you wanted to explore and make your life that meaning? Was it at a younger age, or was it through military, or was it when your daughter won the beauty pageant and inspired you to do as well? At what moment did you find your purpose?
No, so service is normal for me anyway. I grew up in church, and so service is normal. I won't get all into it, but what I will say is that when you think about service, whether it is helping your neighbor or helping the stranger, right? What you need to remember is that one day you might be going like this and reaching out for somebody to take your hand because you fell, and there's nobody there to help you. So you want to make sure that you're doing those things. Some people are always talking about reciprocation. What you gonna give me? And for me, I feel like if you're giving, it's inevitable. It will come back to you in one way or another, because the people you talk to, the people you touch, will always be able to say, hey, I knew her. Even if they don't know your name, I met this girl and she was so nice, and that was the day that I wanted to jump off this. That was the day that I wanted to drink. That was the day I wanted to do this. And you could be that one person that they see and change their whole outlook on life. Hey, that happened to me when I was a kid too, Chaunice. I didn't think that I was going to be able to get through it. Hey, I'm a grown woman. That stuff happened to me. I'm still struggling with it. How did you get through that? What did you use? What tools? Oh, let me tell you. I had a friend that said, call me whenever you need to. Here's my number. Call me. You know what I mean? And so for me, I feel like it probably started when I was young. It probably started when I met Rooster, to be perfectly honest. Because that man, it doesn't matter when you called or what the circumstance was. There was times when I wasn't homeless and I had to call him and say, hey, I need help. Can you at least point me in the right direction, because I know you need your resources for your youth, you know what I mean? But can you point me in the right direction? And he was able to do that every time. There was never a question of should I call or can I call. It was, why haven't you called? Why you wait so long?
Right.
And that's who I want to be. I want to be that. When I have my students in school, Brightwood College, amazing school, teachers, we are all always there for our students. But when I look at my students, my population is sometimes the population that I talk about, that I've lived, and that's why I love it so much. Because I'm the teacher that relates. I'm the teacher that can say, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's put a plan in place. And it makes it that much better for the student. It's all about connections. And if you can connect with somebody in the smallest, most minute way, it can change an outcome.
And speaking of connecting, that's a very good word to use today. So you're involved with kids and nonprofits, organizations. Connecting is it's the most basic thing that you're doing. After that connection, though, what is some of the things that you talk about with these kids who might be going through something similar to what you went through when you were growing up? What's that dialogue?
So for myself, I'm very involved here in San Antonio, BCFS Health and Human Services PALS program. So these are youth that have been in foster care probably as long as they can remember, and they never were adopted. Okay? And now they are at the point where they are aging out of foster care, which means at this point, you're an adult. Let's get you ready because we are no longer supporting you at this point, okay? And that program is called Preparing for Adult Life, PALS. And so when I sit with these youth, but be it a girl or a boy, of course my girls gravitate to me more. They see shiny, right? But when I sit with my youth and I talk with them, they say stuff like, hey, can foster kids be beauty queens? And I'm like,
wow.
Why can't you? You can be whatever you want. Your situation, your current situation is never going to determine what your outcome will be in life, because you can change it. You can spin it. There are people on this, watching right now on this podcast, that know that they had a moment in life that they cannot deal with.
Okay.
And there was a moment where they said, okay, well, I'm not going to let that slow me down. I'm going to release that weight. We're going to make something happen.
You have a very strong, determined mind. Because I want to ask that question. When it comes to having that mindset and that clarity that I'm going to beat the odds. You know, I'm not going to let this, that on the outside hold me back. What's the secret sauce, man? Because people are listening to this and they're like, man, I wish I could be that positive and that focused and that. What's the
secret sauce is I like to be able to. I like success. I mean, for anybody, nobody wants to sit and be unsuccessful, right? So nobody aspires to be unsuccessful. I want to say, Chaunice was here. Right? I want to be able to say, one day, Chaunice was here. I want my daughter to see that college is normal. I want her to say, oh, well, not where or if I'm going to college. I want her to say, well, when, if, where. You know, right. Where am I going to college? And I want her to see that service is normal. You know what I mean? So Bella Rose Pageantry, Miss Black USA, it's about service. We're about taking care of our communities. I was about that before I was within any of the organizations. And I want her to know, like right now, she's doing a fundraiser for an organization right now. And so she's like, Mama, what are we doing with this? We're being helpers. Okay, are we feeding them this time? Are we buying shoes this time? You know what I mean? And that's what I want her to. That's what I want her to be about. You got so many different pair of shoes, right? So there's some people that don't have one pair of shoes, and so let's help those people. I want it to be normal. Giving
back is something that is very obvious that you are doing. You're teaching your kid. Why you think, because in today's world, it's probably been like this all the time, but especially with younger people, entitlement seems to be the new win.
Yeah.
What do you think causes that?
What causes entitlement? Everybody gets a trophy. And there are certain levels, at a certain stage in life, it's nice that everybody gets a trophy. It helps build confidence and all those different things. But the problem with everybody gets a trophy is nobody explains that you didn't really win. Okay? And so in my era, there are so many people that are on this podcast right now watching. You did not get a trophy if you did not win. Okay? You were not able to be disrespectful and still get a trophy. Okay? You were not able to do certain things and then still have the perception that you won or that you are doing well. Everybody gets a trophy is great, you know what I mean? But it takes the parent in the village to explain that the trophy is nice. Remember, this is the small one. You want the one that's like this. You know what I mean? So what do you have to do to get there? You got to work hard. You got to practice. You got to study. Whatever your skill is, right? If you're doing a pageant, you don't want to practice for 2 weeks and you got one, you might not get the big trophy. You might not get the big crown. You'll get the one that everybody gets.
Yeah.
For myself, I use a mantra. If you get a text message from me, everybody knows. If you get a text message from me, it says restoration through rain. Okay? That's what it says at the bottom of my text. What do they call?
Signature.
That's right. So my little signature on the bottom of my text message says restoration through rain. I restore. That's what you should do in life. I try to equate everything or evaluate and analyze everything regarding life with pageantry now. Because for us, we restore. That's what we do. We go out into the community. If something's broken, we try and fix it. If someone needs something, we try and get it. And then you're reigning. And people see that, and they see that you're doing the good things. They want to be a part of it. You connect that. I've networked with so many fabulous people in the city of San Antonio and beyond. And they all want to do the same thing. They're kings and queens that don't have crowns around here, okay? Two sitting right here with me.
I appreciate
You see what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So you
In this room.
That's right. This room is full of people who are doing great things in the world. You might not be on TV. You might not be on, a huge platform. But you recognize that I'm doing something. This little part of my world is opening up a world to somebody might be watching this right now and is like, I might need to stop by Rockefellers. I might need to talk about I need to go see what they're doing. What's going on? How can I be a part of that?
Right.
You never know who you're touching, and you never know who's watching you.
That's right.
You never know.
I like saying this. I think I said this a long time ago, like in high school. But I said, our life is like a blank canvas, and we are the paintbrushes.
Yes.
And our talent is the paint.
Yes.
But in order for that paint to be on that canvas, we must work and take action.
That's right.
Because imagine an artist having all the materials in the world, just top of the line, but they never take the action to start painting their masterpiece. You are doing it. And a lot of people who be on the show is doing it. People in the shop is doing it. They got a 9 to 5, or they have the business, or they're serving in the military. Whatever your purpose, your talent, your passion is, it is the paint, and how you're living your life is your way of leaving your mark.
Yes.
Talk to, the young lady who is listening to this or watching this on Facebook Live. Maybe they haven't picked up their paintbrush, and they just need somebody to just plant some seeds into them. What would you say to them?
I would say, if you are sitting somewhere right now and you're feeling like you're struggling, you're lost, you're drowning, and you don't know where to start, I would say, put your shoes on. Put some clothes on. I would say get yourself up and out into the world. Call somebody. Ask them if they want to go to anywhere. Go to a school. You need a job? I come from the age of walking resumes, okay? There was no internet to fill out an online application. You had to put your Sunday's best on, and you get that resume. You don't know how to write a resume? It's online now. Everybody has a phone. If you don't have a phone, please go to your resources. There's so many fabulous things here in San Antonio that help folks get themselves going. My college has a resume writing workshop that they do. Just make sure there are resources here in this city to help you. If you are beyond, find out what those resources are. If you don't tell somebody what's going on, because a lot of us internally struggle. We don't talk to people. We deal with our inner struggles and battles silently by ourselves. And the hardest part of that is to make sure that you know that if you're not talking, it won't happen. Where I come from, they say a closed mouth don't get fed, you know? And if you get to the point where you absolutely need to find someone to talk to, if you can't find somebody, pray. Use whatever higher power you have to get you to that point. It's not a weakness to say that you need help. And I think a lot of people struggle with that also. Help is something that we all need. I need it to this day. Like I said, I say it 20,000 times if I could. I'm not perfect, okay? Pageantry is not perfect. But what it is, it's a way to help me deal with my stuff. I have a whole bag of luggage that I stroll around with, okay? But my pageantry helps me deal. It helps me get through the things that maybe are rattling around in my head. Talking to these young girls helps me. It's restoring me, not just restoring them. It's a two-way street. It's service. And I would just tell that young girl or young lady or man or boy that you have to find somebody who can mentor you. I find that if you find that mentor and you're able to make the connection with that person and the trust within that person, that you guys can get through anything and you'll be able to take those twists and turns down the road together. That's what I would do.
And what do you say to the person who's just stubborn? You know, they have a confidence issue where it's like, oh man, that sounds great, but nah, I don't know what I'm good at. Maybe they were lied to and said they weren't, you know, talented or they weren't out to something. What do you say to that person who's already broken and they feel like they're the outsider?
Wow. What I would say to that person is the same thing I say to my child every day. I say, tell me your self-affirmations. What are your affirmations? Okay. She wakes up in the morning. We're driving to school. I say, what are your affirmations? She said, I am smart. I am strong. I am brave. I am fearless. My husband makes my husband makes fun of me because the first time he ever heard me say it, he was like, "Oh, what are we doing? The Help? You remember the movie? Yes. The movie The Help?" So he goes, "Oh, you know how it goes." But I tell her, and she says it every day. All I have to say is, "What are your affirmations?" Look in that mirror and tell me your affirmations. And you always remember that. You don't let anybody tell you who you are. You remember that you can do anything in this world because that's the premise that it was founded on. We might have a little bit of difficulty getting there based on the issues or whatever the goal is that you're trying to get to, but so does everybody else.
I would like to say, adding to that, don't let anybody hold your paintbrush. Because a lot of times, you know, our gifts and our talents, we like to put on the shelf because of our circumstances or because of negative voices that are coming through people or in our own head. We have to take that paintbrush and just paint, use your gifts and talents and just get out there, like you're saying, get out in the world and just live. Because a lot of times we put ourselves in prison. We lock the doors and we say, no, we ain't good. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just settle. This is what so-and-so did. This is what so-and-so did. I'm going to do it too because we don't know nothing else. Tell the person that's listening, how can they get out of that prison or that mindset that this is all that's good for me? Because they won't go down the extra mile.
That one is good. That one resonates because there is that air. There's the air of this is what everybody does. There's only a couple of us that do something different. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's generational, and that's a thought and a mindset that you have to. Like, it's not even a want. To me, it's a have to. You have to say to yourself, is this really all I can do? You were the most talented artist in the high school. You were the smartest in STEM when you were in school. You were doing these things. So why now, when you get to the end, do you feel like you are less than? Who stopped you in your tracks? When I joined the Air Force, I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do it. I went to visit my grandmother. Her name is Carolyn Carrington in North Carolina. And she gave me a yearbook. And I'm like, Mother. That's her nickname. It's Mother, but I could never say the TH. So it's Mother. I said, Mother, why are you giving me this yearbook? And she said, I want to tell you a story. She said, the counselor that I had in high school, I told her I wanted to go to the Women's Army Air Corps at that time. And she said, no, you might want to be a maid or some type of help, janitory or something like that. And she didn't listen to her, of course, but she didn't join the Women's Army Air Corps either because she shot her down. She shot her dreams down. And in her yearbook, when I finally told her that I was going to the Air Force, she showed me. In the back, it said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Each of the seniors had to do that. And she said that she wanted to go to the Women's Army Air Corps, but she never did because that counselor deterred her from doing that. And she was perfectly able to do it at that time. So when I say that to say, don't let someone steal your dreams. There are thieves out here. Hide your kids, hide your wives, right? That's what they said. You need to protect your dream. You need to look at whatever it is that you want to do and not say, but I can't. Because whether it's a friend, a family, a stranger, there's always going to be somebody to put and instill negativity and doubt into your mind. Man, I've met so many fabulous people. I know what negativity can do to somebody. I've been there. I've been depressed and say, oh, well, I can't make it. I can't do this. Why are you going to the Air Force? The military? That's not for us. You know what I mean? Like, why are you going to the military? And I say us, talking about African American people. You going to the military? What? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I can't tell you the love I have for my Air Force family, my military family. It gives you a different perspective. It really does. And so I don't let people steal your dreams because thieves are everywhere. And there's the same people that's still trying to scratch and scrounge to eat. There's a commercial. I won't say the name of the business, but the lady says, oh, I love this couch. When I saw it in the store, I had to have it. And then the thief is in the house, and they're like, I love this couch. Right. When I looked in the window, I said I had to have it. There's someone always trying to steal what you got. Steal what you might want to have. Steal what your idea might be. But trust me, your idea is better because it started with you.
Right.
You are the seed.
Exactly.
So don't let somebody steal your joy, steal nothing. Don't let them steal anything, because it's yours.
I like how you went in that direction, because also too, you know, the very key. Well, let me just put it this way: the kingdom is huge, but the key is small, and the key is small for a reason. Because imagine if it was the opposite: the kingdom was small and the key was huge. Well, it have no value. So if the kingdom is huge and the key is small, that means it's those small, very details that make up life. You know, your life going through what you went through, but not letting that beat you and you still be successful in high school, and then you go through some more stuff, and then you join the military, and then your daughter inspires you to run because she won a beauty pageant, and now you're serving the community, but you always had that going on in your life. Those small little crimes or details, you know, those little pixels. I'm not getting technical, but those little pixels in the picture of the HD. You know, HD. I'm sorry, y'all.
Techie here.
But HD photos, you know, when you save the picture on Photoshop or whatever software you're using, you lose pixels every time it compresses. So you gotta ask yourself, what is compressed in my dream? Because if it's not in HD and it's all pixelated, you have to ask yourself, what am I allowing? Whether it's people or if it's a condition, whether it's addiction, or if it's personal mindset, you have to ask yourself, what is causing that distraction? That distorts the actual picture. Paint a picture for the audience, because this is the airwaves and not video. Paint a picture of someone, how they can be happy in life and successful in life with your wisdom from your experience with your life.
Just on my personal experience, I would say happiness comes from enjoying the things that you enjoy. Because I can't tell somebody else how to be happy. I can't tell you should be happy, right? Well, you got this. Why are you not happy? You hear that a lot too. I would say that you take the things in life that you enjoy, the things that you love, the things that you are aspiring to become, and you cultivate them. You keep them close. You enjoy them. For myself, I am happy because I have my family. I have a career that I feel like I've always been. I've always I was supposed to be, a nurse. I was supposed to be a nurse because empathy, love, care, kindness, it's who I am, inside and out. And these are things that I love. My family, my mother, my sisters, my brother. Pageantry now. It's a part of something that I love. My friends, like I said, my secondary mothers, oh my gosh. You have to be able to be comfortable in your own skin. And when I come outside and I'm dressed and I am here and presenting officially as Miss Black Texas, my confidence is who I am on a daily basis. But I always say, you don't know how to be a mother and you don't know how to be married until you get into those two positions. Nobody. You can get all the advice in the world, but nobody can show you how until you know. But that's a love of mine. I hate the downfall sometimes. I love the highs. Sometimes the downfalls, just like the rest of my life.
You need those.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to get deep. You know,
but you need them. You need them to make it stronger. You need them to say, "Oh, well, that don't work. That does not work, Chaunice. Okay, let's turn left. Let's see if we can try it this way." And that just improves your happiness. You know what I mean? It elevates it to a different level because that's something that I love. That's something that I care about. So
the highs and lows, it gives you balance. It's like, I'm a geek when it comes to technology and audio and production and stuff. Like when you're mixing, a song or voice or whatever, a track, you need the low frequencies just as much as you need the high frequencies in the mid section. Same thing with photography. When you're editing pictures, on the histogram, sorry about the terminology, but on the histogram, it shows on the graph the highlights, the lows, and the midtones. Well, in life, you need the highlights, the lows, and the mids to stay balanced because you grow and you learn from the lows, just like you learn from the highs. Because the highs, you can get too high where you can't breathe because you're feeling yourself.
yes.
But the lows, they can take your breath away too. But the thing about it is both sides, the top and the bottom, it gives you character and gives you experience. And I like saying that our pain are people's medicine.
Yes.
Because you never know someone who might be going through something that you already been through. You're successful now, but you didn't just have this crown put on you yesterday.
Oh, no.
You didn't pay for it. So you didn't buy success. But you bought it with a different currency, and that's time.
That's right.
You put work and hardship into what you want to do in life. And that's the difference between you and someone else who chooses to go down the dark road.
Even down the dark road, there's light.
There's light.
Yes.
You just got to turn around.
You got to turn around.
Or you got to keep looking.
Or you got to keep looking because somebody might be shining and waiting for you at the other end, but it's far, far down.
And that's the thing, too. Like, if it's dark, just know one thing. Only way there can be darkness is if something's blocking the light. So what's blocking the light?
And that's what hope
right.
is. Hope. When you get that hope, then you say, oh, now I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to keep going.
Right.
Until I get there. So that's what hope does.
With your involvement with nonprofits in today's present time, what's some of the things that excites you for, the future? What's some of the things you really want to see with your platform that you have?
Oh, my word. I today and forever, I'm always going to look forward to BCFS. I work with them so much. I'm looking forward to a couple of different events that they have coming up. In July, they have in June, they have a carnival that's coming up, and they're going to invite, of course, the youth and different agencies and just the public in general to come out, support the environment, learn something. If you are a teacher and you need to have these type of resources in case students need them, hey, here it is. Come out and find out about it. For myself, I'm looking forward to doing some fundraising for the Children's Shelter of San Antonio. I'm getting myself ramped up to start to volunteer there, as well as Haven for Hope. So Haven for Hope is fabulous because, man, like I said, I've been in and out of shelters all my life. Haven for Hope is the largest shelter in the United States of America. And to go there and to see the facility and how they work with the community is phenomenal. I can't even, hands down, it's phenomenal. We have, I will be going I'm looking forward to going to United States of Women. United States of Women is an organization that focuses on women, right? Women's health, women's rights, justice, things to that effect. That's in Los Angeles. And I'm looking forward to going to that out in May. Mrs. Obama, First Lady forever First Lady. She will be a keynote speaker at that event. So I'm looking forward to that. Here, May 4th through the 6th, so that'll be fun too.
So your schedule is really busy,
goodness.
and it makes me think another thought real quick for the audience. You see, Miss Black Texas is busy for a reason. Success is calling. And one thing about success that's very interesting, I'm learning. I'm just a student. I'm a sponge every time I'm interviewing someone on the show. Success is like it's pulling you. Because as you're going on the journey, you're leaving old things behind.
You have to.
Old habits, old mindsets, and old places. a lot of times we don't get to where we should be because we're stuck in thinking that where we are right now is where we should be forever. You flying around the world, man, military.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Imagine if you just, I'm not going to go Air Force.
Oh, I don't even know where I would. I probably would be in Texas right now if I wasn't in the military. You think about those things, how life could have taken a turn for you if you hadn't made that choice, whether it's positive or negative. Because I don't know where I would be if I hadn't joined the military.
And what's very interesting is that how you got into making that choice, that decision.
Yes.
There's something called risk involved. Touch on that a little bit. How has risk paid off for you in your life?
Risk. Let's see. If you don't take risk, the higher the risk, the higher the return, right? That's what they say. The more you put in, the more you can get out. So for me, I think risk is huge. When I made the decision between Walter Reed or San Antonio, that's a risk. I had never lived here. We still don't have family here. We decided to come here and start all over as a risk, hoping that the community would invite us in and take us in and cultivate us and help us grow. So for me, I think risk is very, very important. And for myself, I feel like it's a risk whenever you do something new. You know what I mean? It's definitely faith, because you have to understand that without that, you can't make a choice to do something outside of the normal. Because when you...
Ooh, that's good. You can only make an excuse, right?
Yes, that's all it is.
That's pretty good, man.
You have to make that choice based on the faith that it will work out. Because like I said earlier, nobody hopes to be unsuccessful. I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be unsuccessful. I'm going to move to Texas and be unsuccessful. Right. No, that's not what you do. That's not what you do. And I certainly hope that's not what you do. If you do that, call me. Because we're going to reprogram that. Because everything is about the faith that you will succeed. And that's what I talk to my youth about, because all we do is win. We want to succeed.
That's really good. Because the reason why I'm just digging is because there's so many people out there who feel like it's the opposite. Like someone owes me an apology. No, we all struggle.
But I've been there. I've been there. When you say that, were you depressed? Yes, I have been there. I have been there where I'm angry. Anybody who knows me knows that there is times in life where you're not your best self. Okay, I can go to 0 to 10 real quick. Okay, and for me, I say, okay, you know me, I know me. That's a moment out of character. Let's switch it back. Let's take it to understand that Chaunice had a bad day. Because if I'm not smiling, you could assume that the world is ending. Because all the time I have this smile on my face. When I was growing up, cheerleading was my mask. What do you do in cheerleading? You get out there, you make the crowd smile, you get everybody riled up. Let's go team, let's go team. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with a mother in jail, addiction, where we live in, I got to pay this bill, and I'm 15, 16, 17 years old. So you have to recognize that it's not always going to be fabulous. Right. You have to realize that sometimes you can say, I need a moment because I can't do this. I can't do this right this minute. I need a moment. Let me take a second. Pause.
That's good. Because also, when it comes to, and time is almost over, I hate to say it, because I can go for another hour, but I'm not going to do that. You can also say, too, as you are in this journey of life, you know, someone said it last week. I think it was Aaron Green, Info Play. He quoted from a book or something like that. Wherever the mind goes, the body follows.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, that messed me up. Because that is just evidence for your life. Where your mind was, your body followed. I mean, touch on that, man.
Listen. If I could have had a passport sooner before I went to the military, I would have had one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've lived everywhere, from starting in New Jersey to Pennsylvania. I had faith, moved out to Minnesota with my cousins. I left there, went back to Pennsylvania. We've lived in Baltimore before I knew that I was moving around, you know what I mean? And so there has to be the mindset that you can do it. You have to be able to recognize that
Nike.
I can do this.
Do it, man.
You know what I mean? Don't let people say, like, I have friends in Allentown who are like, oh, I want to move to this state or that state, but I don't know nobody. Okay.
It's probably a good thing.
Are they paying your rent? Like, you know what I mean? Are they gonna pay your rent? If you knew them, would they be paying your rent? Mm-hmm. What is it that's keeping you for real? Are you nervous because you don't want to be away from family? Are you nervous because you're not sure of the economic stability of the area? Tell me what the situation is so that we can research it and debunk it, okay? Because there will be apply for jobs now before you get there, before you even make the move, before you commit. There is a way to get the things done that we want to get done. Like you said, get the mind on board. And your body will follow.
That's good.
Okay?
You dropped the mind too many times. I mean, all right, we got to wrap this up. It's too good. It's too good content. But I have to say this one last thing. I'm going to let you close with something, just a thought for the audience.
Yes.
But these bites won't work unless we open our mouth. Because you touched on a closed mouth won't get fed.
No.
You got to get hungry enough.
That's right.
For things to start shifting in your life.
That's right.
Because as long as you're content with the same, everybody around you gonna look at you and say, "Oh, that's how they want to live their life." They just have that moment. But someone like you and like Rico running the shop and Miss T and Leia, grinding every day, it's a choice. And at the very last thing, if all you got is a choice, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we want to look at everybody's situation. Oh, they got mansion, they got Lamborghini, but do you pay their bills? Man, I'll keep my hoopty, man. Because you have to appreciate what is already in your path.
That's right.
So what's some last thoughts you would like to leave our audience before we wrap up today?
My last thoughts, I would have to say, would be trust yourself. Trust your ability to get things done when you don't think that it's going to get done. When you are planning an event and nobody bought a ticket. When you are trying to get an assignment done and it's 11:58 and you gotta submit it in 1 minute. Okay, trust yourself and then prepare for it. You need preparation. You have to practice at what you're trying to do. That first event is going to be a stepping stone to the next one and a learning experience. That assignment you might start the day before or the week before if you know you can't get it done on that day. You have to give yourself the fact that you can trust you and learn from the experiences so that you can move on to be and resonate to what you're supposed to be. And also, just love yourself. Too many people, from what I see, are self-loathing. They have that I can't or that negativity. And whether you recognize it or not, it's something that is bringing you down. Like, hey, your shoes are nice. But these old things, I had these for years. No, thank you. You right. These is nice shoes. Thank you. I got them from such and such.
That's funny.
Ask a woman. Tell a woman, hey, that's a nice dress. Oh, this dress? Oh, I had this forever. Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Right.
I think I got this from such and such. Let me check. If you know, right? Accept your greatness. Accept your compliments.
Don't block it.
Don't block it, and don't depreciate the fact that somebody is accepting and celebrating you.
That's good. Celebrate,
real
man. I'll just throw in there too. Celebrate others too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right. Make sure that you recognize that you have people on your same plane out there doing fabulous things. And tell them now. Don't wait until somebody passes away.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't need a meme like that, okay? We want you to tell these folks that they are fabulous today because they need that. Because they might be the person who thinks they can't do it. They might be giving themselves the negativity, not knowing that everybody around them is celebrating them because no one's opening their mouths or using their social media or thumbs to let them know. Tell people how fabulous they are. Celebrate each other.
Exactly.
Man, there's so many things I can say, but we just don't have time, y'all. We don't have time. So I'm so sorry. We're going to have to bring Miss Black Texas back, man, because this was a good hour. And before we close, major big shout out to Rockefeller's Barbershop with Rika Rodriguez, the owner, Miss Kim, River City Donuts, Baby McClinton, Our Sports Speed and Conditioning, OurSportsFitness.net. Big shout out to D.W. Brooks Funeral Home. They've been doing some dope renovations, man. We got to check that out. And also, man, overflowcafe.com. If you need traffic on your business website, they have 41,000 clients strong since the 1990s, so they know what they're doing. Before we close this broadcast, I want to say, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.